Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are having a really good day. We have an important video to talk about Palantir because right now there is a big trending topic about the possibility of S&P 500 inclusion that could be announced this Friday. We're going to be breaking this down, talking about where this information is coming from and what could possibly be in our future. Also, in addition, there is a big report that the actual whole stock market is keeping their eyes on. That's the PCE index report that's going to give us key information on the trend of inflation in the actual markets, and this is going to be a big key player on the probability of those interest rate cuts. If you're new to the channel or a returning viewer, hit that like button to subscribe for daily videos. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just collecting all the news and the data and dispatching it to you. Always do your own research out there. And we got our first channel member. I can't thank you guys enough, and specifically you for being the first channel member out there and supporting a smaller content creator. Really makes me happy to see that people are out there supporting the channel, and I can't thank you guys enough. Now let's talk about Palantir having a successful day and even increasing here in the after hours. This could be from some anticipation with the actual meeting that's going to be happening on Friday. We're going to be talking about that. Before we talk about the price action, let's talk about where this is coming from. Now, Arnie posted this, credit to him here, about the PLTR S&P 500 inclusion could be announced this Friday. And why this is a could be announced is because the 2024 index rebalance calendar, this includes right here, if we look in the fine print, the S&P 500, 400, and 600 quarterly review is going to be announced on March 1st with a rebalance of March 15th. Now, the thing about with the S&P 500, we know that Palantir has already fit the criteria. It's hit the some small other criteria that it must meet, but the big thing is 4 quarters of GAAP profitability. Palantir now has 5 quarters of GAAP profitability after that last amazing Q4 earnings report. However, with the S&P 500, it's called the S&P 500. This means if some stocks are taken out of it, or some stocks are put in, some stocks need to be taken out. And these are what these quarterly reviews do. So they have to decide which stocks are going to be removed for the S&P 500 for actual Palantir to earn its spot into that index. And what we have historically seen with stocks, if this is announced, now this is all just theory right now and hypothesis. This is not confirmation. Make sure you understand that, because what we could see is possibly some buying the rumor that could be happening with PLTR. I think we're seeing that a little bit in the after hours here, but great trading day for PLTR and actually outpacing the market. You can see market basically consolidates on the day. Dow Jones slightly in the red, S&P 500 and NASDAQ slightly in the green. Palantir goes up 4% and reclaims and reassumes this great support level right here at about this $24 level. As you see right here, that was at resistance. Palantir opened up in the market and actually pushed right past this. This was great to see with a volume about 64 million, right around its daily or 3-month trading volume, market cap right now at 53 billion. But Palantir, where it could be testing resistance, of course, is into the 25s. You see here, if we move this line up here into the 25s is where we've seen resistance, because this is getting into the 52-week year-to-date highs. Now, if we toggle over here to the options with this news, I think we could possibly see this push depending. This is a large depending on what the PCE index data is going to show. I'll show you guys the article in a second. But $25 strike price, you got 23,000 right now in terms of call volume, even at the 26, almost another 10,000 in terms of the call volume. However, still some puts on the other side right here. There is a good balance right now between the calls and the puts actually in the option markets for Palantir. Now, total stock market, what we do see is, like I said, we saw in the national indexes closing basically on consolidation. This is because stocks are kind of losing some steam right now as we're really sharpening and focusing our minds and mental attitude on the health of the U.S. economy, as everybody is looming over the investors, talking about the PCE index report that's going to be due Thursday. This is a key, can't say it enough, a key inflation input that the Federal Reserve will use for their rate setting decisions. And what we've already seen, remember in 2020, right before 2024, that November-December rally, when the Fed said that they were going to stop hiking rates, basically, we were pricing at about a 6 to 7 multiple time rate cut. Now that's being more kind of looked at, maybe possibly 3 to 4. We're going to be talking about, will those rates be cut or held steady in March? And this still needs to get priced into the market. However, we've seen the opposite. We've seen NVIDIA actually changing this whole market attitude right here. And even when we see these small dropbacks, like we saw with the January trading reports, we saw NVIDIA just blow past with their earnings, say, hey, just ignore that. The AI demand is still fueling this whole stock rally. So this is where things are getting a little confusing. However, we'll see what the market sentiment turns into when we do have that PCE index data report that does come out, but that could be why, and is kind of likely why we're seeing some of these stocks that are holding steady. But Palantir, like I said, a little bit of buy the rumor here, doing well. Now, Palantir also has a great announcement right here, betting on Surf Air Mobility, SFRM stock, and we can do a sold video on SFRM right here. Talking about Surf Air Mobility, they have disclosed a 7.1% stake in Surf Air Mobility after they received 1.8 million shares of SRFM, it's kind of hard to say that fast, on February 15th in terms of payment. And basically, SRFM is down 20% or more this year. Now, the question is, what the heck is Surf Air Mobility? If you don't know what it is, because it actually wasn't on the highlight of my list, I was not familiar with what the stock is. They operate as an air mobility provider that is focused on electrical aircraft technology and regional flights. Very interesting right here, the Tesla of the airspace. Now, the company became publicly traded, it looks like here last July through its IPO, and it acquired Southern Airways right here. It has a reach of about 450,000 passengers across 48 cities. Now, Palantir has actually already had a stake in here, but they did need to submit a filing after the stake grew past 5%. Now, one thing to note and to take with a grain of salt is that Sam right here, Surf Air Mobility, is also a customer of Palantir. So they could have a great collaboration here talking about how they can benefit each other. Now, Sam announced their delivery of 90 electro-hybrid, electro-short takeoff and landing aircraft. So I'm going to do some more research in this company, get back to you about what could be going on. This is a speculative company, of course, but if Palantir is taking their bet into it, PLTR has been pretty smart with their decisions recently, especially with their advancement into AIP. I think this could possibly be another great company to put on the list. Now, with that, or on the watch list at least. Now, what we see, like I said, with Palantir, with the momentum that we could have, and if there is an S&P 500 possibly announcement on Friday, what we've seen historically as stocks do enter this index, historically about a 5 to 6% gain in valuation, just due to all of the other funds that track the indexes like the S&P 500, a lot of buying pressure just naturally from a lot of the big funds. With that being said, also this does bring maturity to the company as more people will take Palantir seriously, and the fact that it's actually included in the S&P 500. One thing that we have seen as a key catalyst for Palantir, and what I do love about them right here, a great Seeking Alpha article that does talk about this, and if you want to check out my Seeking Alpha affiliate link down in the description, you can actually get 20% off in premium membership. But talking about that is that they, 2 years ago, did 92 pilots within their boot camp. Last year, in the second half of the year, they did over 500. And those words come from Alex Karp himself. And talking about here, Karp claims that Palantir can show customers more value in mere hours to what they would have been able to accomplish in months or years. And this is 10 hours, basically saying, you give us 10 hours, this is basically giving another company 10 months of having to put resources, time together to show you what kind of productivity and efficiency that they can bring to your business. Now, this is really great for clients. And talking about how AIP, what we're really seeing with the data is a large change in their momentum and their dive into the commercial and the private sector. And we talk about this a lot in the videos, talking about how AIP has been a key catalyst. And if we continue to see this, this will help with maturity and helping Palantir grow more into its valuation, because that is the biggest piece of criticism right now, of course, is its valuation. And specifically, if we even look at PLTR really quickly here, pop it up on the screen, look at its valuation in terms of its price to earnings non-GAAP, 94.24 right now. Valuation, of course, you can see in the right hand of the screen, getting an F compared to A scores for growth probability, momentum, and revision. So a lot of exciting things happening right now behind Palantir. Possibly having the announcement of the S&P 500 inclusion. We'll keep you guys up to date on that, but do not take that as, confirmatory news. That is all just speculation, as people are wondering, hey, when is PLTR going to enter the S&P 500? They've met the criteria. They are continuing to accelerate. We see their earnings that are continued to beat Wall Street expectations, and they are looking very healthy. In terms of them also getting involved, betting on different companies now, like I said, with Sam, Surf Air Mobility, we'll be taking a deeper dive into that. It's actually interesting, and that could be a interesting pure play type of stock. Other than that, that's all we really have for you. Tomorrow's I don't know if we're going to see a lot of stock movement tomorrow, personally, in terms of the global, actual macroeconomic indexes, just due to everybody waiting for that PCE report. However, I think on the short term, we could see Palantir continue to accelerate in price, especially coming towards Friday, anticipating a little buy the rumor, sell the news type action with the announcement, even though this is all just speculation right now. That's all, but have you guys. Peace out. Take care, and I'll catch you guys later.